Have you ever restrained yourself from showing who you really are just because you were afraid of what other people might think? Do you often find yourself changing your mind very easily or doubting your beliefs just after talking to someone with a different point of view? Oliver Jeffers said, "If you care too much about what other people think, then you ultimately become what you think they want you to be. And that is not yourself." There are many reasons for why most of us care too much about others' opinion. We want to be seen, we want to be liked, loved, we want to belong, and we are afraid of being left out of the group. To some extent, this is natural and even desirable. It's only normal to care about what our loved ones or people on whom we depend think. And that's exactly what allowed our ancestors to survive. It's caring enough to belong to a group and be protected by it. So when caring becomes too much or unhealthy? What I mean by caring too much is trying constantly to please others or meet their expectations at the expense of your own potential well-being. And second is refraining yourself from being who you truly are just because you are afraid that others might disagree or not approve you or your behavior. And by this, I definitely don't mean an absolute not caring attitude, such as breaking the rules or being disrespectful to others. So why some of us care way too much? It's mainly because some of us needs others to meet their emotional needs, such as being loved, liked, or belonging. So we accept to trade important values for us to satisfy those emotional needs. The problem with this is that we are betraying our true self to get that external dose of validation. And sometimes we're not even aware that we are doing this because our ego will try to convince us that we are acting this way because we're kind, generous, selfless in order to justify our behavior. So let's take an example. For instance, your colleague asks you in front of everyone else to drive them home today. But maybe you feel tired that day or they live far away from your place. If you feel obliged to say yes because you are afraid your colleague might think you are not kind enough, then you probably care way too much about pleasing others. If you keep doing this over and over again and in other situations, you are sending a message to your subconscious that your needs and wants don't matter or are not a priority. And over time, you no longer know who you are or what you want because your subconscious mind, the one who controls us most of the time, is very busy pushing you towards pleasing others and meeting their expectations under the label of being kind, generous, or a selfless person. So how can you stop caring too much? Well, first and foremost, learn to say no when you want to. It might sound a bit scary in the beginning and you will probably feel bad at first because we have been programmed our whole life that the only way to be a good person is by pleasing others. But just try to focus on yourself and understand that it is not your responsibility to convince others of your goodness. You can say no in a very polite manner and still make your personal boundaries very clear. I know that most of us feel guilty when we say no or feel the need to justify ourselves, but please avoid this as well. There is absolutely nothing wrong with making yourself or your mental health a priority. So define exactly what you reasonably can do for others and what you enjoy doing, and say no to all the other things that drain you or distract you. Second tip is find out how it all started. You know, I like to get to the roots of things. So finding out where and how you started to care too much might help you understand yourself and relieve some of the guilt you might have when prioritizing yourself. Awareness is the first step toward change, because how can you change something if you're not even aware of it? So write down on your journal how you feel when you do something for yourself or when you feel obliged to do something for others. Ask yourself, why do you need that person's approval or validation? What's the real reason? Are you afraid of not being liked, or are you afraid of being alone? Perhaps you feel that you don't deserve love until you do something for others. Is there something you hate about yourself and you don't want others to see because you are afraid they won't like you anymore? Think about your childhood. Maybe you weren't allowed to be yourself. Maybe you were awarded love and acceptance only under certain conditions. Maybe you grew up watching your caregivers or other family members sacrificing their own well-being for others, and as a child you thought that this is the only way of being. And this is especially true for us women because we are taught from an early age that the only way to be a good mother, wife, or daughter is by sacrificing our well-being and pleasing others. So it's only beneficial that you sit down with yourself and you write answers to those questions. And over time, you will start to be aware of your behavior and where it came from. My third tip is accept yourself for who you are, and people will too. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be seen positively by others, but the problem is that this is very hard to achieve all the time. There will always be someone who disagree with you or criticize you. So the best way to anticipate others' critique or disagreement is to accept yourself. And when you do this, it doesn't matter what other thinks, because it doesn't affect you anymore. For instance, if you hate something in your body, maybe you have small eyes or big nose or whatever that is not socially seen as beautiful today. Try to give it some love and acceptance. Just look in the mirror and give it love. Maybe go out without makeup or wear a bikini and go to the beach. And you will see that it really doesn't matter and it's not as big as you see it. Of course, if you can change it and it's safe and within your means, then go ahead and do it. But make sure you are doing it for yourself and not for others. And that's why it's very important to accept it first. And believe me, once you accept yourself and you start seeing yourself as beautiful the way you are, people will too. So try to satisfy the need for love and validation within yourself. And that way you will remain neutral regarding what other people find beautiful or not, wrong or right, or good or bad for you. My last tip is people only care about themselves anyway. So if you find yourself thinking about what other people might say if you do something, well, understand that everyone is already busy with their lives or their problems. And even if they criticize you today, they will soon forget about you and get back to their lives or find something or someone else to talk about. So why do we even bother? Usually people who don't respect you saying no or being yourself are people who don't accept themselves. So if they're hard on you, it's usually because they're not satisfied with themselves. So be compassionate towards them and understand that it's not about you, it's about them. So gradually show more of who you truly are. Start with small steps. Maybe stop doing things you don't like and you are only doing to please others, and stop lying or saying things that don't represent you just to get approved by others. And finally, start doing things you want and living your life freely. Because there will always be people who don't like you and you cannot please everyone no matter how hard you try. Maybe you want to start a YouTube channel or a podcast, or maybe you want to quit your job and do something else or change countries. Just do it. And even if you fail, then it's okay. They will maybe talk about you one day, 2 days, and even a month. But what is a month in your whole life? It's absolutely nothing. So you might as well be yourself and do whatever you want. That's it for me, guys. I hope you liked this video and find it interesting. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Question everything, do your own research, and follow your instincts. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.